Welcome to Just the Two of Us Homestead. We are Colleen and Frank, and we live in the perfect size homestead just for us in southwestern Quebec. Gardening, growing food, and preserving is one of our passions. And our barn animals, we love them so much, they're just like pets. And we're so fortunate to be able to live our lives as we do. Each and every day is a blessing. Hi, everybody. Today we're going to do and talk about everything potatoes. I got a really good deal on potatoes, and I kind of feel a bit guilty about it because we grew a whole bunch and we have plenty of potatoes, but I'll explain in a minute why I actually bought them. But first, I wanted to say, or we wanted to say, how everybody is in our thoughts and prayers to everyone who was affected by Helene and Milton. The devastation and horror is beyond anything anyone should have to go through. And I don't know, there's no words to say. I find it even so hard to watch on the news that I'm going to get upset just talking about it. I just feel so bad for you all. So our thoughts and prayers are with each and every one of you. And I don't know what else to say. It's just terrible. So we'll try and switch gears here and get to what I wanted to do today. So it's hard to change your mind back to something else. So we grew enough potatoes to last us probably for fresh eating till February or March. And that's great. And that's Frank's favorite food. And believe me, he's taking full advantage of them. We're having mashed, we're having roasted, we're doing French fries. My favorite is scallop potatoes. I'm not a big potato lover, but I love scallop potatoes, and I make my own homemade, and that's my favorite thing to have. So at the rate we're going right now, I don't even see them lasting that long. And last year we kept what didn't last us very well, the little ones, we let go to seed and use them for our seed potatoes in the garden. And that's what grew best in our garden. So I'd like to hold a lot of the small ones back to do that again for next year. And remember in the summer, I did that French fry kitchen experiment with doing the 3 different methods to see which Frank would like best. So I want to do that. And I didn't want to use all our homegrown ones because, first of all, I would go through the whole batch right there. And they're not always the best potatoes for this. So I had to go into the city last week, or I don't even know what day it is, 4 days ago. And I probably wouldn't have got these if I didn't have to go into the city. I was going right by anyway, but these potatoes were on sale, 10 pounds for 95 cents. These are just white potatoes, and these are russet. So I picked up 2 or 3 of the white and 5 or 6, I can't remember, of the russet. And these make perfect French fries. So I'm going to do his French fries like this, and I'm going to can whatever the 20 or 30 pounds allows me to can with these. What's kind of gnawing at me is they're not organic. And I try so hard to only, especially our produce, most of our meat, I try for it to be organic. But then part of me is like, you know what? For 95 cents a pound and for French fries, that, first of all, Frank doesn't mind that they're not organic. I don't eat them. And sometimes you just have to say, you know what? For the price, and it's a potato. Like, I don't know how to explain it other than I don't feel like I'm caving into it. It was a really good bargain. I'm going to be putting up food for a really good price. And I don't know. I just felt it was something. I wouldn't have driven there. It was one of our bigger chain grocery stores that had them on sale. I wouldn't have made the trip there just to buy them, but I was going by anyway, so I picked them up. And I purposely got the two different kinds for what I want to do. So let's talk about the different types of potatoes and for what purpose and how you should prepare them, because there's different things that'll really make a difference in how they're going to come out. So the white potatoes that I bought, I'm going to can them up. We only have 2 jars left of canned potatoes. These are from 2022. And in a minute, I'm going to show you what they look like. I dry canned these and I used russet potatoes, and I shouldn't have. So these are the white potatoes that I've already cut up. And I washed these and soaked them since last night. And I've changed the water a couple of times and I've washed them again. They're not very starchy at all. I could tell right from the beginning. The best type of potato you could use for this, for canning, is a white potato. Whether it's a Kennebec, whatever, those are great for canning. These just said white potato on the bag. I have no idea other than that what they are. But the more you can soak them and wash them, the less starch you will end up in your jar. And when you wash them and rinse them, don't just rinse off the water. That's not good enough. You really have to do this in the sink and wash them. I can feel the starch on them no matter how many times you change the water. Get your hands in there and get the starch off. You'll have a much better product in the end, because when they cook in the jar, I'm going to use water. I'm not dry canning this time. You will see the starch. And if that doesn't bother you, it's fine, but you'll have a much better product in the end, the less starch you get off. So each time I rinse them, I went through really well with my hands, getting all the starch. You can literally feel it. And my water now is as clear as can be, and I can't feel any more starch on them at all. I'll still have some. Sorry, now I got to get a towel. I will still have some in my water when they're canned because they're going to cook and release more starch, but I've definitely reduced the amount I'm going to get. So those are for the white potatoes. So 2 years ago, I used russet potatoes that we grew in the garden, and I haven't grown them since, and I won't again. We've only grown Yukon Gold, the red, and a few Kennebec. And for a while there, I was on to a really good dry canning run. I dry canned potatoes, green beans, and carrots. I don't can my carrots at all anymore. I just keep them in the fridge. And if I had to pick anything to dry can again, it would only be carrots. I won't do my beans that way anymore. I love them in the zinc. And I canned russet potatoes, and whether I dry can them or not, I will never ever can them again. They are the starchiest potatoes. So that was very, very silly of me to do that because they are just full of starch. And I did the same thing, wash and rinse, wash and rinse. And because I dry canned, they don't look very nice. And after a while, I'll show you closer. The one, like there's any liquid and juice in here is from the potatoes themselves. Like, look at all that starch in there. So when we open these, I put them in a strainer and I have to wash and rinse them. I don't want to eat all that starch. And then the ones at the very top, they've browned. The outside gets like a crust to it. So what we do now is we pretty well don't eat the top ones. We'll end up opening 2 jars and all the top ones go to the chickens now. So I will never use a russet potato again for canning, but they make a perfect French fry. First of all, they're nice and long to cut for French fries, and they make a nice long fry. So you should always be in mind, you can always Google it for yourself, what potato works best for what you're doing. So today when I'm canning potatoes, I am no longer dry canning. I'm going to raw pack, but I'm going to use water to fill the jars to backfill. Some people will blanch the potatoes first and still use water. I don't see the need for that. To me, you're cooking the potato even more, but I'm just going to put them in jars, fill with water, and hopefully reduce all my starch. For the French fries, I will link the video that I did for the French fries. I'm going to fry them in oil. I'm going to flash freeze them and then put them in vacuum seal bags and put them in the freezer. So that's what I'm going to do. I got a whole bunch of these ready. I'm sure I have a canner's worth. And then through the day, I will start frying up these potatoes. I know there was other things I wanted to mention, and I can't think of them. I should have written them down, but then I didn't want to bore you with talking too much. So I don't know, maybe they'll come to me. So I'm going to show you close up how ugly these jars are. And then I'm going to start filling my jars. And I have my canner all set up. Everything's going to be room temperature. My canner, my jars, everything. And then I'll start working on the French fries once they're in the canner. But I just can't remember what I was going to say. I should have taken notes. So let's get started. See all the starch down there? Like it's at least a ½ inch thick, if not more. And that to me is not appealing. And then all the potatoes at the top, I mean, the seal is still good. There's no air in there whatsoever, but they're all browned. And if you've left any tiny little bit of a brown mark on your potato or anything, it's like amplified in the raw pack, the dry canning method. So all of these potatoes up here have a very weird texture on the outside. So I'm not doing that anymore. Like, look at these. It's just gross. So we will finish these 2 jars off, and then I'm going to get more on the pantry shelf. I prefer doing my potatoes in wide mouth jars, and I got 3 here, but I just took what I found, the first box I found, and that's what I'm going with. I washed them all in the dishwasher last night. So I'm just gonna, oh, this is what I wanted to do first. It always helps, since I'm just using my good safe tap water. It helps with debubbling if you put a little bit of water in the jar first. And I tried my best to keep them like in all the same size. And when I bought these, it was the last day of the sale. I didn't even know if they would have any left, because in Quebec, the sales usually go Thursday to Wednesday, and every Thursday it's new. And I thought, oh, they probably won't even have any left. And when I went into the store, I can't tell you how many bags of potatoes they had, like hundreds. So I didn't even feel guilty buying 8. They didn't have a limit. I thought for sure they'd have like a limit of 4 each or something. And there was no limit, and there were so many potatoes that I thought, well, what's going to happen? The sale changes tomorrow. What are they going to do if nobody bought them at 95 cents? It's a 1-inch headspace. I'm not going to add any salt or anything because depending on how we cook these, they'll be seasoned when they're being cooked. So I'm just going to top them up with water, give them a good debubbling. My rims. Fingertip touch. 10 pounds did exactly 6 quarts. So if you ever need a gauge, the way I cut them out up in about 1.5-inch cubes, literally 10 pounds did 6 quarts. So these are going to process for 40 minutes for quarts. And while they process, I'm going to set everything up to start frying the French fries. And then during the day, I'm just going to keep peeling and cooking and canning and hopefully get it all done today. We'll see. I'm going to do these in small batches so the potatoes don't go brown. I have the other one soaking in water. And whoops, I dropped one. In the sink it goes. I know your potatoes are supposed to be as dry as possible. I have a feeling I'm going to be going through a lot of tea towels today, or dish towels. I'm just going to go get the cookie sheets ready so I can start flash freezing them. All right, I think the first batch is about done. It took a while because it was new oil. And I think I can put more in the pot too. So I'll let the grease strain off of them and I'll just keep going along. So I'm just going to keep peeling, frying throughout the whole day. The canner hasn't even come up to pressure yet. It's almost there. I would kill for a gas stove. And as the trays fill up, I will put them in the freezer to flash freeze them. And I'll just keep going along. I'll bring you along throughout the course of the day to update you. I don't even know if I'll get this all done today. We'll see. That's a lot of potatoes. But we'll see how far we get. We are moving right along. I have 3 trays frozen. Frank came in and started peeling, helping me peel. Then I remembered one of the things I wanted to tell you was the only downside to this is the peeling. If they were my own potatoes, I wouldn't be bothering. But obviously, I'm peeling them because these are store-bought and they're sprayed. So that is one thing for sure I'm not settling for, is keeping the skins on and having that. So I'm peeling each and every one of them, whether they're the russet or the white. The russets are easier to peel because most of them are a big potato. Some of them are small. So once Frank started helping me, I even had to tell him to slow down for a bit because I couldn't keep up with, I only have so many bowls and so much room. So the canner, I just tilted the lid so that those jars are almost ready. So I think I'm going to leave the bag like that so I can lay them flat a bit in the freezer. And then also, as he opens the bag and takes them out, I'm leaving enough room each time that he can reseal it when he's done. I need my glasses. I can't see the buttons. There. Move on to the next one. He just went outside to give the chickens a little snack. But I'm just going to seal this one. I'm not going to vacuum seal it and see which one he prefers. Because this would be how you get them in the store, like this. So I'll ask him when he comes in what he prefers. And I'm still cooking some, and the jars will come out in a few minutes. So I think we are going to get it done. With his help, I'm able to get it all done. It's not as daunting now. So I'm going to fill up some more jars for another round and keep on frying. Well, I'm guessing I let the jars sit long enough in the canner because they're pinging. I always prefer to let them sit longer than they need to. Look how beautiful. This is the last of the French fries. They're all frozen now and cooked, or everything. And I just tilted the lid on the canner, so those jars are almost done. And then we're finished. And neither one of us want to see another potato for quite some time. But I got a lot. And we have this much left we're going to have for supper tonight. And we both preferred just sealing the bag instead of vacuum sealing it. It seemed to work best. French fries. So probably another 5 minutes. I'll take them out and we'll bring up all the French fries. We've been bringing them downstairs as they're ready. And I'll show you everything that we got for $7.60. I think that was it. I'll double check. I don't know, for white potatoes, they came out like Yukon Gold. I didn't even add salt, nothing. They're beautiful. And a wee bit of siphoning. There. I think they're beautiful. All right, I'll be right back. There's still 2 bags downstairs in the freezer. They weren't quite as frozen, so I didn't want to bring them up and while I was doing this part, get them stuck together. So these guys are really frozen. I left 2 bags downstairs. So my display's falling apart. So I'm guessing each of these bags is a good 2 to 3 pounds. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 downstairs. And the first one I vacuum sealed, but we definitely prefer that way better. And I have 14 beautiful jars of potatoes. So for $7.60, yes, I compromised. It's not organic, but this time I went for value over organic. And I only had 2 jars of potatoes left on my pantry shelf that weren't so nice, the yucky ones. So now I have, oh, they're pinging. These beautiful ones. Frank has French fries till, I don't know. If I was doing this for profit today, he ate our profits because he just kept munching away on them. But these will be gone sooner than you think. He really likes them, so I'm very happy that he does. And that's it. It was long, but it's always worth it. I don't regret ever, ever, ever doing these projects. And until we're together again, take care.